Thank you all for having me, as I said already. And what I would love is a couple of things. I am at my best answering questions. So please don't worry about waiting till the end to ask me questions. If you get stuck on anything, or just even if you have a comment, it's really nice to have the interaction. I always love the interaction. And the other thing that I would like to say to you is, because I always like to be very practical with when I'm doing talks, is if you have a pen and a piece of paper, I think it would really help you, because I'm going to break down the whole journey through a business and link that to purpose and to brand, and you'll see why all of those things are inextricably linked. And if you can take notes as you go, you'll actually find this thread that weaves through your entire business that will actually help you position yourself more better. Very bad English there, Finola. And please, as I said, I hope you enjoy. So pen and paper and questions at the ready. And Lenka assures me that she'll interrupt and ask the questions on your behalf. So, and I will do my best to answer everything. So here we go. So I've titled this Position with Purpose. And I know that we've talked about branding with purpose. These are all very much intertwined. So purpose, I start everything with purpose. And I'm a real believer that purpose, mission, and vision are the ingredients for positioning. They're ingredients for your uniqueness, and everything flows from them. And when you have that all in place, your brand positioning will be at its strongest, at its most clear, and its most impactful for you in your business. So let's start. So it's how to market so it feels like you, because that's really important too. This whole idea of authenticity, this thread that weaves through everything. Okay, so let's go. So whenever I do a talk, I always say this to people. Our rules of engagement are very simple. 3, no judgment. We are where we are. Confidentiality. I won't share your story outside the group. And lastly, I will respect your intellectual property. Your business is safe with me, because I want you to feel safe when you ask questions. And I know you're safe because you're in your community, but I still like to top and tail everything with those rules. Okay. So I'm going to show you in this talk that when you align everything you do with why you're here, which is purpose, and with what your customers need, your marketing will become so obvious. The overwhelm that we often associate with marketing will stop, and you'll never doubt your next step again. That's my intention for you today. And a little bit about me, because you've probably never met me or know a lot about me, but I'm a marketing strategist, brand builder, podcaster, speaker, mom, all of the things that we are many things. Partner, friend, creator of Get Strategic, Get Results, a marketing and entrepreneurship course, listed as number 18 in top 30 marketers that inspire in 2022. I'm over 25 years working with clients all over the world, and I have 78,000 plus followers across social media. But possibly more important for me to share with you is my quality of life matters to me, and the quality of my business and how that feeds my life matters to me. I only say yes to the work that brings me joy, and I can do that because I stick to my purpose. I stick to my brand positioning. And also, what's the point if we don't do work that we love? I'm a year-round sea swimmer, camper van lover. I love travel. I'm going to tackle my garden very, very soon. So I'm passionate about sharing that the entrepreneurial journey can be smoother. That's my greatest passion, that it doesn't have to be that roller coaster ride. It can be smoother. It can yield greater results in a shorter time period and actually feel good in the process. I'm a true believer in that because I've seen it happen, and I've worked with clients to help them make that happen. So can you imagine what it would feel like to only say yes to the work that you love? And you can do that when you own your space and make a difference in the world. And I feel these things are all inextricably linked. So much of marketing today focuses on singular pieces of the puzzle, like a single post, a product, a channel, a one-off campaign, a tactic that you try. But they're all kind of individual pieces that don't fully connect together. And that's mostly what we see in a lot of marketing today. But this causes your marketing to be fragmented, and because it's a fragmented approach. And when your marketing is fragmented, the result is a whisper in the marketplace, not a statement. And we don't want to whisper this stuff anymore. We want to own our space, to declare really clearly who we are, what we're here to do, and how we can help our target customers. Because our customers can't hear us if we whisper. We have to find a way to weave a red thread through all of this, so that at every point that they come in contact with us, they know it's us. And they can go, oh yeah, that's Finola, or yeah, that's Lenka, that's whoever you are. Okay. So, and the whole point is, when you align everything you do with why you're here and with what your customers need, your marketing will always feel like you. And yes, I know I've just said this a few minutes ago, but I really like to say it again to really kind of bring it home. Alignment is about finding your red thread and using that to guide every decision you make in your business. And when you use this as your guide, this red thread that weaves through everything, you never get lost. It's easier to make decisions. Sometimes it's harder to make decisions because you have to step up to the plate. But it just takes the doubt and uncertainty out of not only your marketing, but also your business strategy. So, big statement. It takes courage to claim your space. And I don't say that lightly. And I've worked with clients for over 25 years, and often positioning our purpose, our mission is often something we speak about privately to our family or our partners or our friends. And they're often wishes. And actually, what I'm kind of advocating for you guys to do is to step clearly into this space and have the courage to claim that space. And it really does take courage. And it also takes courage to build your brand around that, because, it's a vulnerable position to be in. Your purpose and your mission and your passion is your greatest seat of vulnerability, but it's also your greatest strength. And when you have the courage to claim that space and build your brand around it, imagine the things that can happen. And when you do that, you get to own the space. But you've got to claim it first, have the courage to own it, and then you get to own it. So let's explore the path to get there. And this is where I'll start to get you to think about the pen and paper. So the first thing is to know the journey before you take it. And I'm going to walk through this journey because I always like to have a map when I go on a journey. So I've built a map to actually make sure that I don't, and my clients or participants in my training programs don't get lost, because then they bring that map with them everywhere. And it just makes it simple, because every step that you take on the journey, you simply go back a few steps and make sure everything is in alignment. When things don't align, then you actually go off track. And most of the time when I'm talking to entrepreneurs often, and I am one myself, can often get distracted by the latest thing that's happening. Or actually sometimes it's someone has another idea that they share with them to help them. And you can go off track pursuing opportunities. Whereas if we use our purpose to guide us, we never go off track. That makes the journey easier. It makes the journey smoother. So knowing the journey before you take it is a really powerful thing. And this is this map that I talked to you about. And this is just a graphical display of this map. And at the very center of this map that you can see, and this is our starting point. The starting point is purpose. What are you for? What are you here for? And I tell this story all the time of my son. I was bringing my son to creche, I think, or over to my mom's when he was very young. He's 13 now, and he was 3 at the time. And he was in the back seat of the car. And he said, "Mom, what are you for?" And I'd never heard that expressed in that way before. And it just totally threw me. And I gave him some kind of trite answer around, "Oh, I'm just here to love you, And he kind of went, okay, wasn't really satisfied by it. And because I said what I thought he wanted to hear, not necessarily what I wanted to say. And it really made me think about this. So I came back to him and I said, "Well, what are you for?" And he said so clearly, "I'm for digging." He was in that stage where he was having John Deere tractors and combine harvesters and all that kind of stuff. But my lesson from that interaction was he had no doubt. He knew his space and he just went for it. He had no doubts whatsoever and had this ultimate clarity. And I always felt afterwards, and he's now 13, that if we had that clarity, if we moved right back to the very beginning, which was we start with purpose, then we start to realize, sure, that's why we started the business. That's why we chose those customers, because it was for a reason, the reason for why we're here. And so it's not a nice to have, it's not a fluffy thing, and it's not some corporate speak that means nothing and only means something on paper. It's actually the source of your authenticity. It's the source of the red thread of your business, the inspiration for your brand, the inspiration for your positioning in your business. And it's the most vulnerable part of your business because it's part of who you are. It's why you started it. And so often, as I said at the start, it's whispered or mumbled. And I say that because I've been in rooms in companies where it was whispered, because it was, people were afraid to move it beyond the tick box, to actually bring it to life, to make it mean something. And I say to you to stop whispering. And you can stop whispering by starting with a piece of paper and writing it. And it won't be perfect. It'll be passionate or fuzzy at the start. And it's always fuzzy at the start, but there's always feeling in there that if you poke around enough, you'll find a clarity in it that can then be that anchor piece, that starting point of your red thread that starts at the center of your business. So if you can, take a moment and write it in its raw state, because it's just for you. Because remember, your marketing has to come from you. It is your truth. So let's start there and take a moment. And even a moment of quiet is also good, because we often don't take these moments of quiet to do this digging in ourselves to find purpose, to find uniqueness. But this is your source of uniqueness. And so often I'm asked, but I don't know why I'm different. This is why you're different. This is how you're different, because this is why you're here. Take a moment. I'm going to go to the next point. Excuse me. Now, this one's interesting, because in the map, in how an entrepreneur starts a business, they always come with a reason, but they start with product. But actually, in your brain, you've automatically thought of, I'm here because I'm here for this, because I want to help this person. But then we forget the customer because we jump to the solution immediately. Our brain jumps over customer to get to solution. Not from any bad sense, but just it's a very practical, pragmatic thing of wanting to fix things and do things, because as entrepreneurs, we're doers. So we automatically go to the solution. And I'm kind of wanting to catch you. Like, I mean, it doesn't exist that you come to customers first when you move into your business. But I want you to catch that moment and to remember who the customer is that you're trying to help and what they need. And it is this moment in between that jump to a solution. And that's what we want to capture. So here in this stage where you've already established your business, you've already got your products, but I'm kind of bringing you back again and saying, and not doing it in a way that's just like complete your customer profile and have a customer avatar. I want you to jump back and go and feel the person that you're wanting to help. And then, because when we put them first, they will always have an impact on the products that we bring to the market. They will always color them and color them more vividly than we can. So we want to bring our voice first in our purpose. And the second voice that has to come into the mix is our customer, not our product. So we jump to customer. And so take a moment and write down who they are. Now, if you write something for each of these 10 steps, you will start to see emerging something that you'll go, I'm going to work on that a little bit because I can see something here. I can see a pattern. I mean, I'm really good at finding patterns, but I think we all are when we're building a business. We start to see how things can click into place, and we actually get better when we see the click happen. So take a moment and share with yourself who your customer is and who fits best. It's this question of, if you're here to do something, then there is a customer that fits you best. And we have to make a choice about that customer. Too often as well in small businesses, we remain passive and receive customers, but I want you to change your thinking and to start to choose your customer. So again, take a moment to choose your customer. I'm going to go again. Please interrupt me if anyone gets stuck. The next step I want you to see on this journey is we started in the center and we moved to customers. Now we get to go to product. Now we get to go to product with our purpose in mind and our customer in mind. And we know that they'll be shaped best by our customers. We always get a really good start ourselves because we come with purpose, with an answer. The minute you let the voice of your customer into your product will ultimately be changed. And your product must be an answer to their pain. And so my question for you is, what is your customer's greatest pain? And how does this product that you've created, and if you write it down, how does this product answer that customer's pain? So you start to see that we are connecting 3 dots so far. 3 dots or 3 knots on that red thread, and they must connect, because you will never own a space unless they connect. So with purpose, with chosen customer, what's their greatest pain, and how does this product that you've chosen to bring to the market answer that pain? Let's go to step number 4. And step number 4 is when we start to, because if you think about this, we start this as an inward journey that starts to move outward, outward, outward as we get stronger in this, building this really strong foundation on this journey. And we start to now peek outside our garden sheds or peek outside our spare room or our small office or whatever it is. And we start to realize that this is a global world. And this is a world that has gotten much smaller as time has gone on. When I started in business, when I would speak about world trends, people kind of went, that doesn't apply to me because I'm just a small business. But now we know it applies to all of us because we are all impacted by everything that happens in the world. So here's my question for you. Do you know the trends that matter to you? Because you have to start to open up. In order to move into the marketplace, you've got to see the marketplace, and the marketplace is big. The marketplace is global, and you have to see what's happening out there that will give me, that will add to what I bring to the mix, that will add this layer and deepen what I do. What is the trend that can help me here? What is the trend that is the opportunity for me here? And I'm often asked, well, what kind of trends? Give me an example of trends, Finola. So loads of trends. We are surrounded by trends at the moment. We're surrounded, and one we're going to discuss in a minute, which is this trend towards authenticity. And we move beyond the, authenticity and being authentic, that's said kind of with not true depth, but it has moved into depth now, thankfully. But we have trends around an upcoming recession in the UK. We have trends around an energy crisis in every country. We have trends around what we're eating, the environment, the fact that Gen Ys and Gen Zs are getting older. Gen Ys are in their 30s now. So what are the trends that affect you? What are the trends that if you have a customer that's big into travel, or if you have a female customer who's wants to look at building a future financially, what are the financial trends and the relationship that women have with money? There's loads of trends, and you start by Googling them, but you figure out what matters to your customer. So it's not just what are the trends, but what are the trends that matter to your customer? That's what you need to harness, because there's opportunity here. Something is happening here. And how to look for the trends that matter. There's loads of sites like trendwatching.com, listening to the news, listening to your customer, and then kind of Googling it afterwards and going, let me find out more about what I'm seeing here. I've got clues that seem to be like breadcrumbs dropping around me, and I kind of need to know a little bit more. Don't put it off. This is the seed of how you can do it better than everybody else. The seed of your own difference that builds another layer that actually builds on that thread that we've already woven. It's the fourth knot in the red thread. Don't skip it. It's got some really juicy stuff in here. And if the answer to that question of, do you know the trends that matter for your customer is, I don't, that's okay. You've simply identified something that you need to look at. Even in any of these questions that I ask you, if you don't know the answer, it's fantastic that you've articulated that. That's all that matters. Okay, take a moment. And I'll move to slide 5, which is the fifth trend.
Take a moment to jump in because this has definitely struck a chord with people. Talking about trends, we got a question from Melissa.
Okay.
Is asking, what tips do you have to identify the trends that are the most relevant to you and your business, product, and customer? Because there is a lot. Like if you go to Google or if you go to Twitter and you look at trending hashtags, it can be very overwhelming. So do you have any further tips on how you really nail down the trends that would be relevant to you, your business, and your audience?
It's always with customers. So it's always about somewhere along the line, your customer has dropped a breadcrumb of something that's caught your attention or is niggling at the back of your mind. It's something that something that's worth exploring. It's use them to be the funnel for Google, because Google is going to, if you go off, and I found this as well over the years, that market research can be enlightening, but it can also be addictive, and it can also be a space where you can hide from actually taking action. And I've often been in a situation where I've said, listen, we know the market now, we need to move on. So it can be the thing that stops you from acting. So resisting the temptation to have perfect figures of the absolute size of the market or perfect knowledge about trends and all the rest of it, resisting that, but also taking a moment, and this is really it, is to lean in and listen to customers. Because there are so many trends, you can get distracted, but there is something that they're telling you. And one technique I might even start doing if I was you, if I didn't know where to start, is there's an exercise I would do with clients, which is to get them to write 100 sentences about my customer. Because we don't, without exception, in all my career, I have never, not once, met anybody who knows enough about their customers. It's the piece of the puzzle that is skipped over or given surface attention. So to find the depth of this space, because if any of you journaled, you often journal and you kind of keep going. There's a great technique of writing about a topic for 10 minutes without taking your pen off the paper. Even if you're saying, I have no idea what to say now, why does she keep making me do this? Da, 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 da. It means you'll get all that stuff out of the way and go deeper. So if you write 100 sentences about your customer, about their name is Mary, they are working for a big pharmaceutical company. In fact, all my customers are like this. She's scared at the moment because she's just taken on a new job and she has to perform and she has to deliver results within the next 3 months. There's something happening in her industry that tells her, do you understand what I mean? That if you keep writing and building this profile of this customer, that then stops being this customer and starts being Mary, or Mary, who is a representative name for women who've moved into leadership positions for the first time. But you get to know, and Mary has kids that she has to get to school, but this thing that she has to deliver in 3 months is really bothering her, and bump. And you can tell, if you have to stay writing about her, you have no choice but to know her. And by knowing her, she'll point you to the trends that matter to her. She'll point you to something. She's worried about money. And you go, oh, what's her finances like? Is she not good with money? Or is she not good in this leadership role because she's never done a leadership course? And what are the trends happening in the manufacturing industry or the medical industry where she works that might impact women? Oh, I see that they're making a lot of investment in diversity, equality, inclusion in this space. I should know a little bit about that. Do you see how you can meander here? But and I'm meandering because I'm not thinking of a specific of my customer. I'm just arbitrarily taking one. But if you take that tack of going deeper, she will point you, or he will point you, or they will point you to the trends that matter to them. Does that help?
I think it definitely helps. It adds a really depth to understanding of customer, and really the advice to listen to them and pay attention to the language and challenges and topics they care about, because then it's so much easier to listen and filter out of the noise the relevant trend. So thank you, and
cool.
You can continue.
Cool. But I'll also say to you, that work is also not wasted for all of these other things. When you build this foundational piece right from the very beginning, and you do even things like that 100 sentences, you get the language for your sales pages, you get the language for your social media posts, you get the language for do that, because it's just so powerful. And again, you see how it connects. And then when you see how it connects, you actually will find opportunities and solutions for other things, which will impact your product. So the other thing I should say to you about this map is we start in this very center, but we may go back to refine, not seeking perfection, but seeking to maximize opportunities at every point. A little tweak, I'll go back and I'll come back. And your alignment is not a singular one. We don't go just once at it. We are weaving back and forth forever, because your customers will always change and grow and evolve, much as you do. So this allows you to go back and forth and always seek alignment and seek a richness, and a richness that will help you show your uniqueness in the marketplace, because you're always adding these beautiful layers to your relationship with them. And when you have relationships with them and you can offer them more every time, they stay with you. Okay, so soapbox gone. Well, not really, I'm still here. So, okay, let's go. Number 5. Okay, so still connected, right? So we've just done this lovely piece of work of purpose, customers, back, forward again, product, customers, purpose, back, trends, product, customers, purpose, back, find the gap. This is where we start to look at competition. Oh, apologies. We start to see who else is in the marketplace. So we've dug deep in ourselves. We've moved to customers, moved to product, and we've moved into the global marketplace. Now we've got to see, with all that we now know, where's the gap for me? Where can I shine? And that's really, we're looking at positioning now. We're totally looking at positioning now, because everything has been a path to here. But now we'll see, where do we stand in relation to other people who have an answer for our target customers? And we do this, and I know, and see, there's a lot of trends as well around people saying, oh, I just stay in my lane and I don't look at what other people are doing. Well, you kind of have to look at what other people are doing, because you are competing for the same share of wallet as others. So your best bet is to really understand. You don't have to become fixated by competitors. Again, that can also become addictive, and I caution you against that. But it's really good to understand that you want to know where you're positioned in relation to them. What are they offering that you are not? Where are they positioning themselves, so that you can actually see, well, I'm going to be over here, and this is a slightly different angle that these customers will actually prefer here. You also can use it as a space where you're learning from what they're doing in the marketplace, so you can actually do it better. More than that, this is, and the word competitor is moving to, let's not see people as competitors, see them as people we can collaborate with. And yes, that's true. And I'm a strong believer in that. When we collaborate, we can do more. I also like to collaborate with my customers. But do remember this is a business, and your customer has a certain amount of money to spend on certain activities. So you have to position yourself so that you can stand out above the noise. So in order to stand out above the noise, you have to know the noise. This is where you find your gap, okay? And my question for you here is, sometimes we can get preoccupied with our difference, but it's actually the difference that matters to us, and not actually the difference that matters to our customers. So you must come back on our path again and say, do they actually care about this? And that this lovely phrase of so what comes into place. Because you can say, well, I'm different because bum, 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 right? Or, and the one that I hear all the time of, I great service and good quality product. I'm kind of like yawning when someone says that to me, because everybody says that. And if everybody says that, you're not positioning yourself. You're not different because everybody's saying that. It's really this idea of how do you do it better and why do you do it better? And does it matter? Does it matter? And if you get stuck here, there's another exercise, which is something I learned. Who said it? I'll have to remember that. I think it's Seth Godin. And it's this idea of edgecraft. If a lot of you in a space are saying that, you know, highest quality, great service, all the rest of it, take it to the edge. How do you amp that up big enough that it actually becomes a point of difference? Because if it isn't so different, then stop looking at it. Find the gap that matters. So at a first glance, take a moment and write down what you believe your difference is. And afterwards, when we leave here, see where that is on your red thread. And does that difference matter? And how can you make that difference? If it matters to your customer and they want to see more of it, amp it. Make that part of your positioning. Take a moment. When I move on. Just checking time. Oh, we're okay. So number 6. So again, we come back, always at the end, you come back, you go, okay, I've got my purpose. Yeah, I've got the right customers. I've chosen the right customers. And I've actually adjusted my product because it really fits this customer and really they're loving it. And I've gotten feedback and I've got customer surveys done and they're really loving it. And I've got even more feedback so that I can tweak it even a bit more. And it's fitting in with the trends that are happening here. So I'm future-proof my offering to make sure that I don't run out of customers. And now we find market fit, okay? Because this is the point where you get to check, does it work? This is the point where you see if you've chosen the right customer. Because sometimes when you're looking at trends, you can be too far ahead and bring something to the market too soon, or you can bring something to the market a market that's not big enough for you to make any money at. And this is where you have to say, okay, I've really chosen this customer, but really they're not big enough. They're not going to help me fit my sales goals, my turnover for my business, and where I want to take my business. And have I chosen the wrong customer, or is the nature of the beast that I need to have 3 chosen customers that I can have this deep, bigger impact on the world with? So this is where we talk about market fit, and it's the right product, the right customer, but is the right customer profitable? Because you got to talk about the money. Are you going to make enough money here? Do you need to move to the next level? How do you need to do this? So this is also the space where you talk about business model. What's the right business model for you? Is it that I want to stay really small? So what am I going to do here? Do I need to change my customer so that I can get a higher value ticket item so that that's where I spend my time? Or am I going for a volume model? There's all of these questions that happen here, but this is where you check that you've chosen correctly to meet the sales goals and the targets that you set for yourself for the business that you want to build for yourself. And it's for the business dream that you have for yourself. This is where you check. So is the space big enough that you can own it? Sorry, small enough that you can own it, but big enough that you can make enough money at it? And what's your minimum viable audience to prove it? So how many people can I secure as customers to know that this model will work for my business? That's the question. Lots of questions here. Like, this is a deep space here where you have to really check. And you can't check in here unless you've done the previous steps. So yes, you'll go back and forth on this journey, but you need to follow to get the right foundations built in right from the very beginning. I'm going to take a slurp while you have a moment.
your exercise to really write about your customer has resonated with lots of people. People have said that they're going to do that exercise, that they think that it's going to really help them to decide how to narrow down and really get specific on the audience and the name or of targeting of the products and services. So thank you for sharing that.
Cool. And it's even, there's a step in one of my programs that we call it align. So this idea of customer journey, of where you take them on a journey, customer journey, which is you start with the journey that they take, and then how do we align our product journey with their journey? But there's loads of stuff. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Okay. Are we good to keep going? Yeah. Okay, we'll go next. So next, now, you kind of guess now at this point why purpose matters, but purpose matters more than ever before because of what's happening in the world. Because we've had so much fake news, because of how generations have moved coming up, and they've seen so much around, like things are happening around things like it's filters are not being used as much in TikTok or in Facebook or anything else. It's people are looking for truth, and they want it because they want to know that they can trust who they do business with, that these people, we've been kind of, and even in marketing terms, there's so much stuff that is smoke and mirrors that we're not happy about, marketing techniques that we're not happy about. And I mean, I've always come to this point, which is that marketing is your truth told, and great marketing is your truth shared. And it comes from that place of authenticity. And actually, your marketing is easier when you start with purpose and start with truth. But the world is now recognizing that. They're fed up of all of it. And it is purpose actually is this, as I said, the source of authenticity, of your authenticity, and must be evident in your brand. And every age, and I did a series of posts on my social media, and one of it was talked about consumer trends for 2022. And this is screaming at the moment about authenticity. So, and more than that, they're looking for deeper conversations, because we can search for so much, but we want, if we're going to interact with somebody, we want something deeper. And Generation Y and Gen Zs are the trendsetters here. They are looking for the truth behind every brand. And this is a trend that matters for every business. And I really encourage you to look for that truth behind your own brand, and you will find it in purpose. Okay. So the reason I'm telling this is because the brand must be the expression of that truth. Your brand must be that visual, graphical, tonal, multi-sensory expression of who you are, why you are here, and what you're going to do to help your customer. Okay. It is that if you think of brand, when brand started, brand was a cattle brand that cattle men and an odd woman here and there put on their cattle to say, this is mine. So brand is where you say, this is mine. This is my space. I own this space. And you step on it and you say, this is my space. And when you come to the market with, this is my space, and I can tell you why this is my space, because everything I've done throughout this whole journey around purpose, customers, product, trend, all of that kind of stuff, you state it in all of this. And then they can hear you. And then you're not whispering anymore. And everything you do will come back to that. So brand is this beautiful expression in the colors that are chosen. Because remember, the colors say something, speak to people. The words chosen speak to people. The photography chosen speak to people. And they are all a different lens to look at you through. And when they can see all of you and see that it's all aligned and nothing smells a bit off, but it's all this beautiful articulation of that space you are brave to claim. Now you can see why you need courage, because it's you making a declaration and not a whisper. However, it helps your customers see you and recognize that this is your space and you're the person to go to, because this is your space, and everything he or she says and does, or everything they say or do, is all in alignment. So it must be true. It stacks up. So my question for you is, how does your brand express your positioning in the marketplace that came from all this work that we've just been doing? Take a moment. And remember, this is the pragmatic side of me is going, ask the question, has your brand expressed? Where's the leakage? There's always leakage in brand. There's always that bit you left behind, that sign on the wall, or that piece on your website, or that LinkedIn profile that's not connected. And we're all victims, or we're all kind of culprits for this. But find them and just tick them off one at a time. It's just a list of things to do. Bring them into alignment, because it will stop you whispering. Take a moment.
We have an interesting question from Andrea, who said that she's been working on her branding recently, that she got some clear ideas, but it's hard to find the right language, and that it looks like she made herself sound like a bad dating app. Any tips on finding a better language?
Is that exercise with customers? And also, I think it's to actually not to think about the sales page and not to think about all of these other things, to actually start to storytell, to tell, to start with this on this journey, which comes back to purpose of why am I doing this and who are they? Who am I? Who are they? Why am I here? Does this fit? And if you, and the other thing I would say to you as a clue here is fall in love with your customers, because your passion will come here. And I think also a quiet space to fall in love with your customers when you're writing. Because as you write, and actually, if you're a little bit like me, sometimes I'm saying things and I go, oh, that was good, I should write that down, because I like sound a lot. And then when I write, after I've spoken, more things come. And I think stick with it, but have your voice here. And that's my next step on this little journey. It's to be brave enough to allow your words come, not what you feel should come, but your words, the way you do it, because this is inherently your point of difference. Your words. I think that when you find yourself saying, I should write like this, then stop. Just write from your own sense of self and your own passion and your own truth, and it will come. And it takes time, but it will come. And if you are more verbal and not as used to writing, then record yourself and then write. You'll get this lovely sandwich of flavor and stuff that comes that will resonate. Another trick is to sit down and talk to your customers and hear them, record it. Like a really interesting one as well is to maybe pick 3 or 4 of your target customers and bring them into a Zoom chat, or in person would be amazing, which is like this whole idea of focus groups, but focus group to listen and to hear their language. And then you reflect that language back to them in your own way, but it has to be reflecting back their language. And if it sounds like this awful app, then the avenue may be to go to their pain point too. I've given you loads of ideas there. I hope I haven't bamboozled you.
No, Andra says that she loved your advice, so thank you so much. And cool. We have one more question from Melissa.
Cool.
That she's asking if she should be doing just one niche customer segment, or is it okay to do more than one? Because, for example, she makes at-home secret agent experiences for kids and families, which I found so incredibly creative and fun and cool. But she has different types of customers, and some parents want to empower and entertain their kids. Some want entertainment for birthday. So their pain point, their challenge, their desire, their need is different.
but also, you know, that you can do both. Like I also talk about this idea of it's not about either or, it is and. Can't you do both? And can't you test what works? So I'll come back to our first question, which is, you know, that whole idea of if a niche is too small. A niche is too small if you're not making enough money at it. That's the reality. So if it's too narrowly focused and it's stopping you from getting other customers, then you've got to broaden who the customer is. And you find the pattern between those, or you get a second customer or a third customer. Not and really any more than that, because you can't deliver on it. But there's also this idea that, and I just did a podcast episode that was released today, which is kind of appropriate now, is not to get so preoccupied with the demographics of things, but to get to kind of think about the psychographics of things. And this person that I interviewed talked about curiosity was the thing that tied everything together. It didn't matter that, and she does these experiences and brings people off on diving expeditions and stuff like that. And they can have a 16-year-old and a 65-year-old together on the same expedition. And the thing that they have in common is curiosity. So what is the thing that they have in common? Does that help?
I'm sure it does. Thank you.
Okay. So, oh yeah, okay, let's go. So, this is the next piece, and actually appropriate for that question, which is use your voice to meet your customers where they are. So we can often get caught up in this trap of using lingo because we're shortcutting for ourselves and not explaining all the time. And then we get preoccupied with our own voice. Now, our voice matters because it's a point of difference. But it's this interplay between our voice, which is our unique perspective on things, and their voice, so that we show them that we know them, we show them that we see them, that we hear them, and we want to help them, okay? So you have to show them that you recognize their pain and show them that you have the answer to that pain, okay? So, which brings us to our next one, number 8, okay? And this is, your voice is your vehicle for visibility. And even like I'm thinking about that question now, and I'm thinking, I would spend a little time about difference there as well when I'm talking to my niche, making sure the niche is big enough, but thinking about how you speak and how you bring your difference to things and how you speak about what you do and that passion, because you know, we've really cultivated this passion because we went from purpose, because remember this journey with all these beautiful knots on the red thread that brings us through this marketing entrepreneurial journey. And this is where you come, if you've done all these 7 steps, and they won't ever be perfect because they'll always evolve. But if you pay attention to them right from the very beginning, there comes with it a sense of certainty, a sense of true understanding of who you are and what you bring and why you're here and who they are and how you can help, that you find that there's power here. You know, there's a power in this certainty. And because it's the power of a beautiful truth. And this is where you start to, and I find when I talk like this, that I stand straighter speaking like this, even, that no more do I want to whisper because I've done the work. Now, because I have this wisdom of my own path and this wisdom of my customer, that it come with, and often it's a strength and often it's a quiet strength that allows you to make a declaration that you are very much aligned to, confident in, and still with, you know? So voice is your vehicle for visibility because you've done all this work. And because you've done all this work, this is where your marketing starts to really sound like you and speak to them. And it comes out in the layers of how you speak to them. And the layers may be a flyer, a website, how you hire people, how you write a blog post, do a podcast, do an Instagram live, and you get all these layers, and layers that don't have to be regurgitation, but layers that invite them in a little bit more, that you get to speak to your customer and tell them, I've got the answer for you. And look at what I've found for you, just for you. I'm here to serve you. And this is how I can do that. So what does that voice sound like? And I think that is in answer to some of the questions already. And it comes from the knowledge that has arrived because you've taken all these steps. And now you get to say, how will I express all these things? And where will I express all these things? Because I asked my customer where they are and what they listen to and what they read and what hashtags they follow and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to write to that. And I'm going to write to that in my own unique way that I've been positioned for that makes sense. And this is where I get visible. And this is where you get, you got to this previous piece of certainty of brand because this is your space and you've claimed it. Now you move out and you actually declare it and speak to the world. You're ready now, but you're cultivating your voice and how you express it here. And this is your space of like voice here, to be very pragmatic about it. This is content. This is your content strategy of how you're going to make people see you and hear you and connect with you and want to know more. Voice is content strategy, but it's deeper than that. It's not just about a mindless picking a channel and a time of the day and making sure it's SEO perfect and all of these very practical things. This is your vehicle for visibility. This is what this means. So my advice here to think on and to reflect on is, what is the channel that my customer likes to be in, where I can be most comfortable with, so that I can actually do all that repurposing stuff that everybody's talking about. So for me, it was a podcast I love, and I also love to write. And there's steps here that I need to get right as well, because we all do. But find it where there's flow. Always in content and content repurposing, there has to be flow and a groove where there is joy for you and how you speak and how you interact. Find that place where there's a joyful place for you to be, that your customers can see you, read you, hear you. Pick that channel, that layer, that will help. And take a moment. Half expecting a question, but maybe I won't get one. So I'll go to the next one. Okay. So I'm quoting myself now, but anyway, but this is what I believe really passionately about, like really passionately about. And I remember how it came, this statement. And this is my belief in everything that I do, is marketing is your truth told, your essence, and you having the courage to state your truth out into the marketplace. That's marketing for me. Your truth told, you telling your truth. And great marketing is where your customer resonates with that truth and shares it for you, shares it with you, loves that. You'll know that you've accomplished great marketing when they share your truth for you. That's the goal. I can do that with purpose and with everything that we've been working on. But I kind of want you to keep that in your mind, because it takes me to my last two steps on this journey, right? And this is, if you can see on this graphic, we started with voice. We're coming out of this yellow space, this core space, and we're moving out into the world and out into the marketplace. And your first piece is to tell your truth. And you work on all those content layers and everything that are the perfect expression of your position in the marketplace. And then ultimately, you want that truth to be shared. So your truth told is, yeah, it's what I've just said, where you truly enter the marketplace brave enough to take your purpose with you so it's no longer a whisper, that none of your marketing is fragmented. It's not singular posts, it's connected posts. It's all connected. And it will be seen in your website, your social media, and your talks and everything you do. So here, my question for you is, how and where will you tell your truth? And that's back to those channels that your customer looks at, watches, reads, but that you love being in. It has to be both of you happy, not just them. You also have to be happy too, because when you're in a joyful place, you will actually tell your truth more often. It's just that practical. If it's a heavy load that you're pushing this big boulder up a hill, you won't want to do it. So find the joy in it. Find the piece you love. If it's a live Instagram live, a LinkedIn live, a podcast, an article, whatever it is, embrace that piece. Other layers will come, but the starting point is the starting point to generate traction where you can be consistent and repurpose it has to come from a place where you love to be. Where do you love to be? Take a moment. And I'll go to number 10. So when others share your truth, you'll know you've cracked your marketing. That's my point. And a great quote from a guy who I think is an amazing brand guy, and a guy called Martin Neumeyer, which a lot of you have probably heard about. My favorite quote is, a brand is not what you say it is, it's what they say it is. And I want you to think of that game that we would have played when we were kids, and maybe they don't play it anymore. But if you think about a room full of people sitting on the edges of a room, and you whisper something into the first person's ear, and you go, and they have to whisper that to every other person going around that room. And then the last person shares what they heard. And normally what happens is it's completely different. It goes from like, my mother went to the shop the other day to the monkey stole the milk. You know, that's what invariably happens when we're telling a story and it comes around. It gets completely impacted by the receiver, by the noise in the room and everything else. And what we want for your brand, and what you want for your brand, is that your message is so crystal clear that it stays intact for the whole way around that room, for the whole way around that marketplace, so that your customers are always hearing, and they may hear it from different perspectives, but it's still around this core red thread that we've been tying knots in along this journey. And that's the intent, that your truth shared, when someone else shares it, it's still your truth. In fact, they've probably made it better because they've added stuff to it that you haven't thought of, and will help you enrichen and deepen that position that you started with at the very start of this journey. I hope that makes sense. So the key insight here is the journey is always inward first. And if the fundamentals aren't there, you will get lost on the outward journey. And you'll find that a lot of marketing starts at the end of the journey. And I'm wanting to pull you back to the very beginning, because if you pull back to the very beginning, everything else makes sense. So my question is, does it help you see how all the different aspects of your marketing connect together in a journey, and that you now have the map of that journey? That's the map that we shared here today. And can you see that how aligning each step with your purpose will make your marketing and your brand and everything you do so much easier and feel like you? And when it feels like you, it's your truth. And we want your truth told and your truth shared, remember. So we want it in alignment. So here's your question. What will you do with all you now know? You have an option. One, you continue to market the same way you always have, generating the same results. Or you can 100% commit to positioning your business with purpose using this roadmap, aligning everything with all these individual knots, knotted together, that makes sense. And there you're continually going back and forth in this journey to make sure you stay in alignment and stay evolving in pace with your customer. And this is my invitation to you. If you like what we've talked about today, I'd like to invite you to a live guided 12-week program by me, which is starting on the 22nd of September. And as I say, the complete A to Z guide to successfully position your business and own that confident space in your customer's mind. And in that 12 weeks, we would go deeper and very practically in each of these steps on that journey. And the steps and those 12 weeks directly align to what we've been talking about today. And Guided by Get Strategic is the only personally guided marketing program that connects all the dots between strategy and action, creating a usable map for any business to implement successfully in-house and always with your own voice. And that is my purpose, that to make it easier and usable to implement successfully and sound like you. And if you do this program, what you'll find is that it connects all the dots in your marketing. Your business and your marketing need to make sense together. That means you come to the marketplace with a message that is fully intact and helps you own that space in your customer's mind. It also teaches you how to be your own marketing guru. You'll come to the market with certainty and you'll never second guess yourself again because you've done this work. You'll know who you are, who your target customer is, and you'll know exactly how to reach them. And it also does this, really important to me, is it balances strategy with action. And that means that every action you take from here on in is with the big picture in mind, so that you won't just know what to do, but why you're doing it. And you'll measure it every step of the way so you never go off course again. And very often, this dance between strategy and action doesn't sit very well, because you can stay in the strategy and not act, or you can act without strategy, and neither works. They have to work together. They have to dance together. And that's what you'll get from this program. So in 12 modules, which directly align with the path that we're talking about, and it's the start point is now, your vision as intention, build what they want, choose your customer, understand your market, uncover your unique brand, map their journey, optimize every touch, create meaning online, be wise with social, amplify your story, and make it a living plan. The second aspect to it, and I'm conscious of your time, so I won't stay too long here, but I wanted to tell you about the guided part. So this is, the first part is the program itself, but the guided part is, which we'll take you through for 12 weeks, is we start with a personalized audit of your marketing. And every week there will be guided sessions where I show you what to focus on in each week. And we do breakout sessions, so you practice the core pieces. A little bit, some of the exercises we've done today is I'll move you out, and so have a breakout session to crack something every single week. And in every week, when you put these things into action, you may have a question, and I will answer every single personalized guidance for every question that you have every week. And I'll just move really quickly to say it's, I also include a 30-day launch plan in it. It's the roadmap I use with all my clients. So you can do it too, because I've done it so many times before. And we also have a private members area, and I'm live in there every week to make sure that you keep implementing and you're never left without support. And if you do all the work and you're still not satisfied and you show me that work within 30 days of enrolling, I'll gladly give you a refund. And this total value of this program is €5,130, and in sterling, that's 4,500 sterling. And what normally I asked for kind of input from people about what they felt that this would be worth, and they talked about €2,000. And I'm charging 595 for this, which is 516 sterling. And you can pay in 3 payments or 1 payment. And I'll leave you with that because I'm very conscious not to take too much more of your time. I'm very happy to take any questions.
Oh, I think no one has any questions. Everyone is taking it in. Some of the comments have been no questions, just things to reflect on, a great flow and pay of this session. That's what Dana said. And Andrea said that she's listening, can't think of questions, but her brain is taken up with listening to your fab idea. So thank you so much for really jam-packed hour and a wonderful session, answering all the questions, adding so much value, and giving people this opportunity to really start digging a little deeper and see how they can really align their marketing, connect all the dots, and really do marketing their own way. And that's something that we're very passionate about over
Cool.
here. It's just give people a chance to find a way to make marketing feel better for them.
For me too. Yeah. But if anyone wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn, please do. And in the usual socials.
I'll make sure that we will add links to the course and to anywhere else where you are active, so people can connect with you and obviously follow more content.
Cool.
Stuff like
I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, for really dedicating this time to our community and helping them and sharing your wonderful wisdom. Lots of positive feedback. So appreciate all the time and expertise, Finola.